Hi, I am doing a VOD review of Smefanye's play in this Dorado game. Smefanye's mid-gold level support main. During this match, they play, or this game, they play Mercy, Moira, and Brigitte. And I'm going to be talking about positioning, beam usage, ability usage, and overall how the game goes for them and their team. Let's get going.
I'll be watching over you.
So you've got a McCree and a Zen. I don't particularly like Mercy Zen as a combo. Uh, for supports, that's just not a substantive amount of healing. You know, Mercy is supposed to be getting a buff to her healing here soon, but right now, at least in comp, this is not a lot of healing. So we'll see how that goes. Practicing your bounces, your super jumps here. Fine. So a Junk and a McCree. You're going to start damage boosting the Junk here, it looks like, but McCree's usually a better target, but Junk is pretty good right off the bat. Can get some cheeky shots off, and McCree doesn't have the range. Alright, Winston jumps in. Your team's under a good bit of pressure. Your Sigma's really low. So this is the first big mistake I see. You res a Sigma here when you have critical teammates right in front of you. Essentially, this means you end up trading your main tank for this off tank that you res. The Sigma comes back up, but you've lost your Rhine now. You could have been healing that Rhine instead of, doing this res on the Sigma right there, and the Rhine would have survived. You're playing in a pretty dangerous spot here. You're already behind the Winston. He just turns around and he body blocks you from getting back to your team. To be honest, this fight's, not going well. They engage on you really aggressively, and your whole team's really low. The choice you make to res here is just a mistake. You don't want to res this when your team so obviously needs healing, and you get punished for it. Your Rhine dies, everyone else is really low, you have to just back up. And now you're playing from this like weird position here where somebody could just walk in. And I'm glad you moved, because playing from inside the building there, the Rhine could just walk around the corner and start smashing you, or somebody could come in behind you really easily, and you don't have anybody protecting that flank, and you're also not checking it. Playing from back here is a lot safer. You can hide behind this corner really easily and still provide the same amount of value to your team. And also, you would have been able to actually get line of sight on that McCree who just died.
Damage increase.
Barriers about to break. Reload in motion.
All right, you've got a couple picks.
I have empowered you. Right on.
So you jump up here and see this McCree, which means this jump is really dangerous. I would have immediately dropped back down. Obviously, he's distracted, so he's not looking at you, but a better McCree at a slightly higher ranking would know to just flip up and shoot you down. You have no protection up here. Angels off cooldown as you're coming up and landing and just walking around up here. Being down with your team and with cover is a lot safer. He retreats here, but you could have been in a lot of danger, so I don't particularly like coming up here for that.
Casting the healing spell.
Enemies are orbiting.
My ultimate is ready.
A lot of times you're playing really close to your team here. How can you get a pick? Okay, but just a little bit earlier in this fight, you play from up top for a second,
Enemies are orbiting.
and then you drop down to right here, like right in the midst of your team. A fire strike could come through and hit all of you right here. Playing from the side or from cover, or just a little bit farther back, so you have more time to dodge. All right, your team dies. Yeah, they're super dead, so you just got to get out. Winston jumps on your Zen, and now look, you're so far up from your Valkyrie that you've lost your beam on your Zen here, so you can't help him. If the Winston had just chased him a little bit better, your Zen would have died. I don't think, yeah, he's gonna make it, but there's like a full 2 seconds of beam down time because you just floated up too high. It's better to take cover behind buildings, but using the natural geography of the map, than to try and fly so high that they're not going to shoot you, especially McCree. He's going to be able to hit those shots when you're high up there like that. You're prioritizing targets, okay? Oh, okay. You don't call out that McCree flank on the side. Nobody responds to it or anything. And then you jump up, knowing that the McCree's up there. This puts you in a vulnerable position. Again, when you're floating down from Valkyrie, when you just have your passive, letting you float down after you super jump, you have a really predictable slow fall that a McCree can easily get shots on you on. So jumping in response to this is not great. Got this Winston on your team. They're getting booped all around. And look, you see the McCree again up there on the top left, and you don't call him out again. It's pretty obvious that your team's not communicating well here. And this is a rough one. Let's go back and watch this. So you're playing behind cover here. McCree's up there behind you. We don't call him out. Your team's in need of a lot of healing. You get fire strikes. You're already not at full. And then you fly in to get killed with your team. And I know how I know how Mercy works. I know how Guardian Angel works. So I know that you heard Ryan's voice line for his shatter start before you flew over here. This is probably just a reaction time thing. You'd already decided to fly over, even though you actually had range on them. You were getting heals on people from where you were, and you fly in thinking that your team's going to move just to get killed here. Like, he's been playing pretty aggressive. It's important as Mercy to track your opponent's ults, and it's clear that that wasn't really happening. You just get surprised here, get pinned and shattered and pinned, and your team has lost this fight. Oh, they barely keep moving. You swapped to Moira, probably because you're embarrassed about getting pinned like that. This is a good orb. You get it right over there. It's Williams. Your team doesn't really take advantage of it. That's not your fault. I don't really like that damage orb. Your team is under a lot of pressure here, and damage orb doesn't do that much damage. It's one of the, like, Moira does less damage than almost any other character in the game, maybe the least. And you throw a damage orb in here, which causes your junk to die. Your Ryan's way off to the side, in danger over there, and they're not getting heals that you could be providing them, like an orb that could bounce from the truck here and then over to where your Ryan is totally doable. Instead, we're spending a lot of time sucking at this shield, which does nothing. Yeah, you're spending too much. Like, your Ryan gets really low, he's probably gonna die. No, he makes it. But that's your Zen's doing, not yours, because you're not healing him. You want to be playing close behind your Ryan most of the time, especially at this rank. This Winston's playing pretty aggressive.
What is that melody?
Okay, it's pretty clear that you don't exactly know the range on Moira's healing. I think like 2 of those little bursts don't do anything to the Sigma there. Let's see.
This will restore you.
Yeah, that one doesn't hit. That one doesn't hit. Oh no, it hits a little bit. You barely hit him. But the first one and the third one miss. And that just shows me that you don't have total mastery. And then here you're spraying at nobody. Like, Moira's healing isn't unlimited. And sure, you're regaining it pretty quickly because you're it's doing a lot of DPS. But like I said, Moira's damage is not that strong. You want to be focusing on keeping your team up. You're the main healer here. You're playing with a Zen, and you're not offering that many heals. So launch an orb on the wrong side of the building, on the wrong side of the wall. I would just take slightly longer before you launch those, because healing orbs are Moira's like, okay, and then here you do it again. You launch a damage orb right as the fight is starting. Like, maybe it'll build your ult charge a little bit, but so will a healing orb, and your team is really low already. And then this is happening. Like, if you were to launch a damage orb like before the fight a while ago, I get it. That when your team isn't under pressure, but when your team is under pressure like this, you need the healing that your orb offers, especially when you're not grouped up. Wow, you barely get out of this. That's a good chase on the Moira. Nice dodge.
Surrender to my will.
Okay, so I see why you think you need to pop Coalescence here, because your Rhine looks really low, and you still see people. You're still under threat, so you're worried. But if we go back to the start of this fight, and I just want you to watch the kill feed during this fight. Here, just a second. Checking your flank, good. Launch a damage orb as you start. Okay. So you lose one, you're down one. Your junk kills two, now you're up one. You get another one. Up two for a second, then you're up one again because your junk dies. Dodge, their Winston dies, you're up two again. You're up two, and then the junk dies right after you use this. So if you were communicating with your team, you might have known that he was one, and also that they weren't engaging. So you would have known you wouldn't need to use Coalescence here, and you get almost no value out of it because of this. Like, you get a little damage to help finish off that junk, but otherwise you pester this Mercy. Now, I get this chase. This is a good chase. They're like staggering in, so you think this is valuable. But it does leave your team really vulnerable, so you need to make sure that you're communicating with them that you go to chase that Mercy. They're just staggering, trying to stall you here. If you keep them off, nothing to say to that. That is a damage orb that I like better, right? You launch it in, just like hoping to build ult charge, because there's no one fighting right now, and you don't see anyone close to engaging. You can't even see any members of their team. So that's a lot better damage orb than the other ones you're doing. Okay, I don't like that fade. That put you in a lot of danger. You put yourself right next to the hamster, and what you were doing was just trying to reposition yourself to try and heal your teammate over there. Who is that? Is that the McCree? But you put yourself right in the line of fire, and you don't know who could be around the corner on the left or on the corner on the right here. You put yourself right in this open area where you could get shot. I mean, at your rank, people don't do a lot of punishing, but at a higher rank, that positioning error would get you killed. You notice they have a Tracer now, and especially here, that's like mostly your job to deal with. Your McCree is probably not going to be able to actually hit the stuns, hit the shots. So. Okay, that orb was like way up. Your Sigma doesn't get healed at all from it. You could have launched it like between the cart and the wall on the, it's on the left of the screen right now, but on the right side of the cart. And bounced it back and forth to provide the Sigma a lot more healing, or you could do it on the other side of the cart to fully heal up the creep. Tracer behind, you're not getting anything on her. You get a little bit of damage if she recalls out. Hopefully you call that she uses recall. And now you're so distracted that you haven't been offering healing during this fight, and your team is dying. I don't like how you hid in here for a second. Someone like their Junkrat could easily get bombs that pop into you there. Like it might feel safe, but it's kind of like that spot you were playing in earlier as Mercy. It's easier for someone to just walk up to you and start hitting you, or to walk up behind you and start hitting you. You want to be playing behind your team as support mostly, right? Which you're not doing.
My ultimate is ready to be unleashed.
Yeah, so your Zen died. You weren't healing him. Like, you got a kill, but your Zen died. Your other healer died during that fight. You're just, like, actively not healing enough.
Allow me to repair the damage.
Yeah. Like, here it's really obvious that your team's not communicating. You just gotta call out where you need the junk to be to actually heal him. And I also can tell, again, that you don't really have a good mastery of Moira's healing range. Because you're trying to launch it at him and struggling. Like, yeah, how much of that did you actually hit? Your Zen has to put his orb on the junk to actually give him heals. Your critical Zen is right next to you, and you still launch a damage orb. Is your Zen gonna get killed here because of that? Oh, he ults. Lucky. So what happened there? See, your tanks are both dead now. If we go back, you're distracted. You're failing to heal this Junkrat. You're getting distracted by this Tracer, who you can't seem to aim your sock at. 3 of your team, including both of your healers, are distracted here. Your Zen's ult doesn't save your tanks, because you guys have been distracted by your failure to heal and your failure to kill the Tracer. That's on you. Your tanks die here. You're spending a lot of time using your right click at shields, which is really, really not impactful. That's an okay chase on the Mercy. It'd be better if you were able to get back to actually help your tanks there. Your junk dies, you're on the wrong side of the cart from him. So you gotta be communicating where you're actually going with your team. So this is a big mistake here. You were over on the far side of the cart with the Rhine, and now he's not hitting you right now. So where is he? Answer in front of you, you're launching heals, blah blah blah. Where's the Rhine? Oh, there he is. Right on top of you. This puts you in a really dangerous position. You get pushed way back here. And Fire Strike and killed. So you did have your fade back and could have dodged that Fire Strike. But you didn't. That's probably reaction time again. You couldn't distinguish it from the mines or whatever. Okay, it happens, but that's a dodge that a better Moira would do. Also, very obvious that you didn't communicate where the Rhine was. He comes around, he gets the kill on your Rhine, he gets the kill on you. Partially because you didn't communicate where he was going and you forgot about him. And stood in a place where he could very easily come behind you, get a bunch of damage on you, so you could be finished off with a Fire Strike pretty easily. This is a lost fight.
There was a flaw in my approach.
10 seconds remaining.
Yeah, you try and just get back to point here, but you're not gonna make it. You know, it's not a terrible attack. You don't die very much, which is the best thing about this play. You die with that one bad mistake that we just watched, getting Fire Strikes when you have your fade up. And you die that one time as Mercy, flying right in to the Shatter and Pin. So yeah, that doesn't work out for you. All right, let's see the defense.
I'll be watching over you.
Hoi.
You're gonna go Mercy again? I bet that your teammate stole the Moira from you here.
Attackers incoming in 30 seconds.
Once the mission,
Okay.
Right beside you.
no more messing around.
Oof. I think that was an attempt at a super jump that failed.
Right, Simon.
So you've got 2 off
Hoi.
tanks,
5,
Junk and
4,
Doom. I actually
3,
preferred you playing up there with your
1.
Doom Fist.
Attackers
A Mercy
win.
falling around a Doom Fist can be really powerful. You can do a lot of damage.
My healing spell is upon you.
Alright, your shield's already down, so you should be playing behind more cover. This is a really, really risky res. It is not a res I think you should have gone for. Uh, at least until your Sigma's shield was back up, where he could be up protecting you a little bit. If they just had a little better focus, if the other team was communicating, you would have died during that res. Just get lucky.
Barrier is unstable.
I'm taking care of you.
Trying to bounce your beam between critical people. Doing an okay job. It's important to remember that Sigma has ways to like offer himself more health. He has his kinetic grasp and he has his shield, so he needs your healing less than other people. That's another res that I don't really like. Like your team is still in a lot of danger. If it just made sure they're a little bit more healed up before you went for that.
Bear the damage.
Works out for you though.
Where does it hurt? My servants never die.
In my opinion, this ult is a little bit late. Your Sigma has gone forward, ends up dying here. He's ulting, and you Valk sort of reactively a few seconds after. This means you don't get the damage boost on the start of his Grodic Flux. And you just have to try and keep your team alive with most of it after, I mean, your tank's already dead.
Your support has
Gotta get
arrived.
out of here. You're trying to contest or something. I think you're confused about what to do here. When you needed to be giving up pretty quickly after your tanks both died there, you guys need to be backing up significantly. Everyone was too far forward, and they were all really together on this push. So right here is about where you gotta fly to this Moira and escape. Okay, you fly to her, but as you're flying, if you watch that, we'll go back and watch it again. We'll just watch the fight. I mean, yeah. So about this point, you've lost. Sigma comes in, your Doomfist dies. You're like, okay, I gotta get out of here. You fly back. You're like, where do I go? Where do I go? See your Moira. Should fly to her now. Yeah, that res shouldn't be even on your mind. And that whole time you're flying over, you're not healing her, and she dies. Okay, and now you're gonna shoot your pistol at this Torbjorn. You're never gonna kill a Torbjorn. He has armor. He can give himself 100 extra health, and no, you're never gonna kill him. You should fly to your tanks and get out. Fortunately, they go in, they get killed. Now you tell your Doom, you say, get out of here. Let's run.
The payload has reached the checkpoint.
You guys need to back up more. You need your tanks back.
Let's get you back out there.
My will made real.
Miss jump.
My damage spell is upon you. Did someone call for
Okay, so your Ryan's half here. This is another bad res. You keep resing in spots where your team is already under a lot of pressure. Look, your Doom dies here immediately after, and your tanks are under a lot of pressure too. There's also not great beam management during this fight. We'll watch it from the top.
My damage spell is upon you.
Get back with your team. I bet somebody said to group up here in voice. Yeah, you're damage boosting there when your Ryan is already almost half. Your Moira has to try and keep him up. Junk gets killed. You can see Doom dying as you try and... Oh gosh. Yeah, I know your Ryan is dying here. Your Ryan dies because so much of that time is spent damage boosting people and stuff. When your main tank, the most important front shield, is dying right in front of you. I understand it, Mercy. You want to feel like you're getting value out of your damage boost, right? But when your other healer isn't providing enough heals for the team, you got to pick up the slack. Hopefully you just get out. Yeah. No, your Ryan's going for it and is gonna die. Yeah, that was tragic. I'm glad that you just left though. Like that was not a contest that was gonna happen. You guys just needed to back up. Should be yelling at them to come back around the corner so that you don't just get stomped through this. Okay, you totally could have gotten out of that flux. I think you accidentally canceled your Guardian Angel partway to your Moira. Instead of hitting shift there, you want to be hitting space so that you shift to your Moira and then jump over her to get out of that. Okay, so you have a lost fight behind you, and you decide to go kill this Mercy and stall for a few seconds on cart. You're gonna get staggered. You're gonna die. And then your team's not gonna be able to get back together for one last contest. You guys have the space here, and you have the time to actually group back up and push on at the last moment. But because you're gonna be dead here, where do you die? Let's see. I mean, it takes them a second, but they immediately start pushing card again. I mean, you stall them for a couple seconds, and now what is your team going to do? You swapped to Brig, and what you sent me, you said that this was because you think Brig is good at stall. I completely disagree with you. And also, you're playing Brig into a Junk and a Zarya. Miss your whip shot. Like, okay, you get one whip shot here. Let's see what other value you get. 2 whip shots. You haven't hit a melee yet. You have to back out. So what you did in that fight was you got 2 whip shots. Almost worthless. You contributed very, very little to this fight. You win this off of your Bastion's ult.
Mercy is for the weak.
I'm not even going to give you credit for that. She wasn't getting out anyways.
This is my will.
Okay, I like checking the flanks. You do that occasionally during this match, which is good. Okay, you guys scatter. You totally scatter for this fire. Gives up a lot of space. The tire made a lot of space for your team. Okay, you should be standing right in front of the coalescence beam. Instead, you walk around to the other side of the cart there when you could be standing right in front of that beam and meleeing into those tanks. Now you're gonna chase them down here, and you're super dead. So you walk around the corner there when the beam's no longer behind you. You get like no value out of your Moira's coalescence. You don't walk in front of it to contest the tanks here. When they back around the corner, you follow them in when she doesn't follow you. And then of course you just get burned up by this Torbjorn ult. because you try and make it back to your team for nothing. This is probably good.
Practice makes perfect. Not to mention some bumps and bruises.
Yep.
Defeat.
Okay, so what are the most important things during this match? Positioning, of course, most of all. It had some really unfortunate times where you decided to play super aggressive into their team with Mercy playing really close to your teammates so that you're being hit by the same melee or the same fire strike that they're getting hit by. Um, with Moira playing like in a little stair and with Brigitte too going down that stair again. To I don't know what for to die. I mean, you just are playing in spots that get you killed or get your teammates killed. Also with Moira, there was some damage orb usage. It was really suspect when your team desperately needed healing. And heal orbs that you just throw in random directions. I feel like you don't have a great mastery of how to use your heal orb. So I would probably just play some games where you tell yourself you're not going to use damage orb the whole game. You're just going to heal, and see how much value you can get out of it. And you know, it's a good ability. I expect you can get a lot out of it. So you should be able to win games off of just healing orbs without damage orbs. When you're chasing a mercy or whatever, you can chase a mercy with just your suck. You don't with your right click. You don't need orb to finish off a mercy most of the time. Um, so yeah, your team needs more healing from you as Moira, which you just don't offer. And I think the same is true with Mercy. There was that one fight where your Ryan died, and several instances in which you rezzed in really suspicious circumstances. Like I understand you get a teammate back into the fight, but your other teammates are literally dying in front of you at the same time. You're watching them die on screen as you're rezzing, which means that you haven't gained anything from your res. Your res there's not a +1 to your team. It's just a 0 because you lose a teammate, you gain a teammate, no gain. Um, and also that fight where you were damage boosting your junk, you were damage boosting your Ryan, you were damage boosting your Zarya while your Ryan was dying. And you only have a Zen to heal. So Mercy, yeah, she's got a heal bot sometimes. She can play as a main healer, and especially with the buffs she's getting, I think that she'll be a more effective main healer. Maybe though, still not effective enough to play alongside Zen, um, unless your team is better than your team was. Yeah, you definitely need to communicate more, call out flanks, call out when you die so they know not to push in, yell at your tanks if they're gonna run in and get themselves killed. It was pretty obvious during this match that there wasn't a lot of communication. Your tanks like went in while you were trying to heal that junk and sucking at that tracer and died. So yeah, there are a lot of little spots where your team needs more healing and more communication than you're offering. And as a support, you're not just a support offering like heals and damage boosts. You've also got to play the support of the team, the heart of the team. That's what a support is. So you got to be the shot caller a lot of the times. You gotta be the communicator. Mercy, especially, she has such great mobility and such great visibility. You can look around in any direction. You don't have to be looking at the person that you're boosting or healing to have your beam on them. You can be looking in every direction. You can spot every flank, and you can get up into the air too to see those things. So more time spent looking for where your enemies are, tracking their ults, and like thinking about the game in a broader sense than just what you're doing. That's your job as a support, and I think you can do it better. Also, do not play Brig to stall. Just don't. You got no value out of her. You just died. Um, Literally, I think you hit 2 whip shots. You stunned that Mercy on her way out, and then died as soon as the next fight started and didn't make it back in time. It was totally worthless. Don't do that anymore. Um, okay, I think that's all my tips. Overall, I mean, this wasn't a terrible game. Your team put in some work, and I think you have a lot of places you could improve, and hopefully, this will help you do so. Okie doke. Uh, good luck.